right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. We've got two things to talk about this morning. One, obviously, is the Dubai Pro prejudging. The other is the China Pro finals. So we're going to start in order because the China Pro wrapped up right before the prejudging started for Dubai. So this is the top four call-out from the China Pro. So in the center are Shen Chen Long, who is in the green trunks. And then Andrea Presti, who we talked about a couple videos ago, right next to him. So Andrea Presti, I felt like was the favorite going into this show. He was the only guy in this lineup, to my knowledge, that has won a pro show or gone to the Olympia. And it kind of sucked because one of the big name guys that I thought was going to do really well here, that we also talked about going into the show, was Joan Pradels. But right before the show last night, Joan put out a post saying, I guess he's sick and he didn't get the clearance from his doctor to compete. So I guess when he's in China, he got there. But I guess after he got there, he was sick. His doctor told him he couldn't compete, and he had to pull out of the show super last minute. I think had he been able to compete and had he not been sick, obviously, I think he would have been in this call-out for sure and potentially would have been top two. Now, the result here was interesting because for the first time ever, we're going to have a Chinese Olympian competitor. Shen Chen Long wound up winning this show and the Olympia qualification and beat Andrea Presti. And I actually think he deserved it. I think Andrea was a little bit off here, but I think the most noticeable difference between these two guys, and again, we're talking about the guy in the green trunks next to Andrea Presti in the center of this call-out, I think the most notable difference is clearly the lower body. I think that Shen Chen has a much more developed lower body overall than Andrea Presti, and I felt like that led to his physique being more balanced than Andrea. Now, to be honest, if there was a live stream for this show, which I don't think there was, I couldn't find it, and I didn't see it. So we're talking strictly off these pictures and these videos that we're looking at here, which are all, I believe, all just iPhone pictures from the show. So we're not going off of any live stream footage because I don't believe there was one, or at least if there was, it wasn't accessible to me. I tried for a couple hours to find it. So that's why this part is going to be a little bit of a shorter recap because honestly there wasn't much to go off of. I wasn't familiar with a lot of the guys in this lineup, including the winner. That's why the result was so surprising. But congratulations again to Shen Chen Long on his Olympia qualification and his victory here at the China Pro this weekend. Now, let's get into the Dubai Pro prejudging. All right, so let's get into the Dubai Pro here. Just wrapped up the prejudging for the show. Very, very impressive top six call-out. I was a little surprised. So the call-out that you're watching now is the first call-out from prejudging, and then the very last call-out at prejudging was basically this exact same call-out. 6 men both times. You had Rubiel, you had Tonio Burton, you had William Bonac, Behrouz Tabani, Mo Fuda, and Nathan Diasha. So let's start with some of the guys that I think are kind of out of the conversation here. I think Neckzilla, highly anticipated. A lot of people talking about him going into this show. He posted some updates that some people found impressive. A lot of people were talking maybe he's going to win the show. I said going into the show, I'm expecting kind of the same thing from Neckzilla, and I think he's not going to bring the conditioning where it needs to be. And I think that's exactly what we saw here. In fact, last year he placed top 4. This year, I think he's lucky to place top 6. I think he's going to be in that 6th place spot. He did look a little bit tighter than last year, but if you look at all the guys that he's next to in this call-out, I don't think his conditioning is anywhere near any of these other guys in this top 6. So even if he improved his condition from last year, it's still, for me, just doesn't come close to the bar of the conditioning that these top guys are bringing. And I think his structure too, it's like a problematic structure. I think his legs really might be too big. I don't think it's even just a matter of it throws off the aesthetics of his physique. I think it's just a matter of also the proportions are just way off. His arms, when you see him hit like a front double bicep, his arms just do not match the lower body at all. The lower body is almost as wide as his shoulders. I think it just really throws off his structure. And I think even if he was tighter here, like I said, I think he just missed the mark. I don't think he's in the conversation for top 3 at all here. I think my prediction going into the show was that he'd probably be 4th or 5th. I think I have him in 6th now just because I think the size, just the sheer size that he brought is what got him into this call-out. But conditioning-wise, proportions-wise, aesthetics-wise, I just don't think he's on par with everybody else in this call-out. Yeah, he's a freak. He's a mass monster. He's the biggest guy in this call-out. He has more muscle than anybody in this call-out. But I think that's the only reason he's in this call-out. And I think he's kind of an example of, I think you can tell sometimes going into a show just from looking at physique updates whether a guy is going to be in shape or not. I think when you look back at Blessing Awodabu at Legion, you could tell from the updates he was posting he was not going to be in shape for that show as close as those updates were to the actual competition. And for me, with Rubiel, when we saw that update at 2 days out, the first update where you could see his legs, you could tell that he was not going to bring the level of condition necessary to be a factor in this show. I think you could genuinely tell from those updates that it just wasn't going to be on the mark. And that's really kind of my biggest problem with Rubiel is the fact that he just does not bring these deep cuts in his legs. They were a little bit better than last year, but you look at his quads and they're just nothing but size. He has a couple little splits in there. But look at everybody else's quads in this lineup. Even though they're all much smaller legs than his, I think everybody in this top 5, their legs look better than Rubiel's just because of the separation. And I also think his posing is really awkward. Like I said, he's very strong from the side. His side shots are good. I think those are probably the shots where his legs look the best. You can see a lot more because there's just so much mass showed off from the side. There is some more separation in the side shots. But I think in this call-out, if you were going to give Rubiel any poses, it would only be those 2 side shots. I don't think Rubiel is in the condition where he takes, I don't think any of the front shots or the back shots. I think he really has to step it up. He needs to, just a little bit of improvement from last year is not enough because last year he really dropped the ball, and I think he was lucky to get top 4. The improvement in his condition needs to be drastic for him to start being in the conversation. And I just don't think we're seeing that from him. But let me know what you guys think about how Rubiel looked here in the comments down below. Now, as far as the top 3, they did a lot of moving around in the first call-out. And it kind of looked like they might have had Mo Fuda in 2nd at one point, or maybe in the conversation for top 3 at one point. I think Mo was in really good condition. I think his back let him down here. And I think he's probably more looking at 4th or 5th. I think him and Nathan are battling for 4th and 5th. I still think Rubiel, for me, is in a solid 6th place spot. He was on the outside of that call-out the whole time. They didn't move him at all. But Nathan being on the end of the other side, they moved him in next to Behrouz. They swapped him out with Mo Fuda. I think that Nathan's probably in the conversation for potentially top 4 based on how the call-out at the end of prejudging started to go when they put Nathan directly next to Behrouz. For me, the top 3 would include Tonio. Now, I don't know if it's actually going to because they never put Tonio next to Behrouz, and I think Behrouz is the clear winner of this show. Behrouz brought an amazing package here. He looked like he added some size. He was in the type of conditioning that we really expected to see from him. And again, when I say I feel like in some cases you can actually look at physique updates going into a show and you can tell who's going to be on and who's not. And I think those updates that we saw from Behrouz going into the show these last week or two, you could tell he was going to bring it, and that's what we saw. I think Behrouz 100% is winning this show. But as far as top 3, for me, I would have Tonio in the top 3. I think Bonac, based on the way that last call-out went, is looking at 2nd. I'll have to go back and look at what my prediction was. I believe it was I predicted Behrouz to win, Tonio in 2nd, Bonac in 3rd, and then Rubiel in 4th or worse. But just I think Tonio looked amazing here. I think he looked better than Legion, very, very competitive. I thought, consider the fact, too, Tonio is probably pound for pound the lightest guy in this call-out. and he's standing next to, pound for pound, the heaviest guy in this call-out. And look at how much better he looks than Neckzilla. So the fact that he not only didn't look small in this lineup, but he's standing next to the biggest guy in the group and looks, in my opinion, way better than Rubiel. Looks way better than the last time we saw him on stage. I think Tonio should be in the conversation for top 3. That's why I was kind of surprised they just did this 6-man call-out twice, because I was hoping they would do like a 4-man call-out that would include Tonio. And I think if they did a 4-man, it would probably be Nathan, Behrouz, Bonac, and Tonio. I think Nathan might have done enough to crack the top 4 here and edge out Mo Fuda, even though Mo brought this amazing condition. I think those back poses were really starting to let him down, and that's why they moved him back to the outside. So I think after watching this, I would go Behrouz in first. I think Bonac is going to be second. I have Tonio third. It could be Nathan, based on they moved him directly next to Behrouz, and they never put Tonio next to Behrouz. But I would have Tonio in third, Nathan in fourth. I think Mo Fuda is fifth because he way out conditions Neckzilla. And I think Neckzilla will round out that top 6. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What are your predictions for this show based on what you saw here at Prejudging? Again, for me, Behrouz first, Bonac second, Tonio third. I think I'm going Nathan fourth, Mo Fuda fifth, and Neckzilla in sixth. But let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.